faith, there are different kinds of faith. But in Krishna consciousness, the preliminary condition of faith is to believe that simply by serving Kṛṣṇa, everything will be complete. There is a verse, Śraddha Shabde Vishwas Sudhira Nishchay Kṛṣṇe Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. There are different kinds of activities. Karma, Jnana, Yoga, especially everything, all activities are grouped under three headings. One is karma, fruitive activities. People are working to get some desired result for sense gratification. That is generally. Everyone is working to get some money, and money means to satisfy my senses, my demands of the senses. This is called karma. Then, out of many millions of such karmis or workers, one is Jnani, or a man in knowledge. When a man comes into the platform of knowledge, when he becomes frustrated by working hard and testing all results of karma, when one is not satisfied, then he comes to the platform of knowledge. Knowledge means inquiry, what I am, why I am frustrated, why I am confused, what is my position. That is the platform of knowledge. So, out of many thousands of such persons who have attained knowledge, actually, who have understood what is the position of these living entities, Brahma Bhuta, they are called liberated. And out of many thousands of such liberated persons, one can understand what is Kṛṣṇa. This is the position. So, to understand this fact that simply by engaging oneself into the activities of Krishna consciousness, everything is completely done. This is called faith. Faith, strong faith, unflinching faith. That is the last instruction of Bhagavad-gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam. You give up all other engagement, simply surrender unto me. And that is knowledge. So one who has attained this knowledge, now this is the beginning, this is the stepping stone in Krishna consciousness. That simply one who is firmly convinced that simply by executing the duties in Krishna consciousness, my all other functions will be nicely done. So one has to understand, it is not to be accepted blindly, it is not forced upon anybody. Therefore the Bhagavad-gita is there. Try it to understand, scrutinizingly, with all your arguments, and you will find it is sublime. It is sublime. So a faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge, this is transcendental knowledge, that simply by discharging my duties in Krishna consciousness, all other duties will be performed. Means I'll be perfect in fruitive activities, I'll be perfect in knowledge, I'll be perfect in mystic advancement, and I'll be perfect to understand the absolute truth. This is called firm, unflinching faith. Faith, I do not mean faith by blind faith. This Bhagavad-gita is not blind faith. Everything is being explained step by step, scientifically, authoritatively. So try to understand. And if you fortunately become faithful, then your life is successful. God.
This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service, and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful and controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness.
Controlling of senses means that is also knowledge. Because this materialistic life means sense gratification. So we have satisfied our senses not only in this human form of life, but in other forms of life. So, when one comes to the understanding that these sense gratification activities are useless, then he can understand. Yeah. When one understands that I have tried to satisfy myself in different kinds of sense gratification, just like people are trying the same thing which they have got at home, just like a naked woman. And they are still going to the theatre to see naked dance. You see? What is that? They have no idea. The same thing, punah charvita charvanana, chewing the chewed, trying to find out in which naked dance there is pleasure. That's all. So, when one comes to the knowledge that I have seen so many different types of naked dance and naked woman, what I have got? What I have gained? What satisfaction is there? Why I am not satisfied? That is knowledge. That is knowledge. Just like Billamangal Thakur. You have heard the story of Billamangal Thakur. There are many stories. So, he was very much fond of his girlfriend, prostitute. So, when one night when he approached there within torrents of rain and with great difficulties, the woman was sympathetic. She said, Billamangal, you are so much attracted with this flesh and bone. If you had been so much attracted to Kṛṣṇa, how you would have been? Immediately he turned. Yes. So immediately went back and went to Vrindavan. So these are the points of knowledge. You see, when one is struck with that knowledge, what I have gained? I have tried life after life, hours after hours, days after days, this sense gratification. What I have got? And this is knowledge. Then searching begins. Gone.
But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures go to ruin and perish. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor the next.
Yes. One who is doubtful, he has neither happiness in this world and what to speak of the next.
Therefore, one who has renounced the fruits of his actions, whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, and who is situated firmly in the self, is not bound by works, O conqueror of riches. Purport. One who follows the instruction of the Bhagavad-gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, becomes free from all doubts by grace of transcendental knowledge.
Because everything is threadbare, explained. You can have answer of all questions from this Bhagavad-gita, chapter by chapter. Everything is completely answered. Yes.
He, as a part and parcel of the Lord, in full Kṛṣṇa consciousness, is already fully conversant with self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above the reactions to whatever activities he may carry out. Verse 42. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
The doubt was there in the mind of Arjuna in the battlefield, and there was necessity for preaching Bhagavad-gita. Go on.
The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two divisions of action called sacrifices. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and the other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not dovetailed for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely, understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of the Bhagavad-gita as it is, can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord.
Because the subject matter of Bhagavad-gita is to know 5 things. To know what are these living entities, what is God, what is nature, and what is time, and what is work. These 5 subject matters are there. God, the living entities, the nature, the time, and the work. These things are. Everyone is engaged in some sort of work. And there is time control. Your life, my life, everyone's life is controlled by time. We have to live for so many years, no more than. They said, to study time, to study our work, then what is God, what I am, and what is this material nature? These 5 things are very nicely explained. One has to study. Then one becomes perfect in knowledge, and he can act accordingly.
And such understanding is beneficial for such a person who easily understands the transcendental activities of the Lord. In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord Himself. One who does not understand the instructions of the Gita is faithless and is considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as the eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. This ignorance of the so-called student of the Bhagavad-gita can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principles of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Kṛṣṇa consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifice to the demigods. Sacrifice to Brahma, sacrifice in celibacy, sacrifice in household life, sacrifice in controlling the senses, sacrifice in practicing mystic yoga, sacrifice in penance, sacrifice of material possessions, sacrifice in studying the Vedas, and sacrifice in observing the scientific social institution called Varnashrama Dharma, or the divisions of the human society. All of these are known as sacrifice, but all of them are based on regulated action. And within all these sacrifices, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of the Bhagavad-gita.
Yes, self-realization. What I am. If one aims to that objective, then his study of Bhagavad-gita is nice. Yeah.
But one who doubts the authority of Kṛṣṇa falls back. One is therefore advised to study the Bhagavad-gita or any other scripture with a bona fide spiritual master, with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal, and there is not the slightest deviation from the instruction of the personality of Godhead, as it was imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instruction of the Bhagavad-gita has come down to the earthly kingdom.
It is not very difficult. Just like in this Bhagavad-gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says that He is the Supreme. And He is advising, manmana bhava mad bhakta, just try to think of me only, always. Manmana bhava mad bhakta, and become my devotee. Madhyaji, just worship me. Mang namaskuru, just bow down unto me. So simply these four processes, if one can do, he says, Mame Vaishyasya Sangsaya, surely, without any doubt, he shall come to me. So is there any difficulty? These boys, these girls, what they are doing? Manmana bhava. They are chanting Kṛṣṇa, that means thinking of Kṛṣṇa. They are devotees of Kṛṣṇa, they are bound down before the deity of Kṛṣṇa, they are eating Kṛṣṇa prasadam. So the process is very easy. But we do not want to follow the instruction of Bhagavad-gita, but simply, falsely I am proud that I am reading Bhagavad-gita. There are so many Bhagavad-gita readers, even in your country. So many, I know. But the real instruction they will not follow. They will interpret in some way, this way, that way. Or some rascal, commentator, will also induce the reader, oh, here Kṛṣṇa says that you become devotee of Kṛṣṇa, it is not up to this Kṛṣṇa, there is another Kṛṣṇa. You see? Kṛṣṇa directly says that manmana bhavamad bhakta, and the commentator says not to Kṛṣṇa. So how people can understand? You see, a misleading, misinterpretation. Otherwise, if you simply study Bhagavad-gita, you understand these 5 principles. What is God, what I am, what is material nature, and what is time, and what is work. Then you are in full knowledge. These 5 things are very nicely explained in the Bhagavad-gita. Try to understand. My dilemma, what I am. That is explained in the Bhagavad-gita. Kṛṣṇa says, Mamaivaṁsa jiva bhuta. They are all my parts and persons. That is nice, very nice. It is very easy to understand. Part and parcel, that means I am part, he is whole. Part is never equal to the whole, but part is equal in quantity, quality. Just like a part, a little part of the ocean water. This is also salty, and the whole ocean water is also salty. So qualitatively, the part and little part and particle of the ocean water is the same quality. It is not different. Chemically, if you analyze that one drop of sea water, the chemical composition of that water and the vast water is the same. The only difference is that the ocean is very big and the small particle of water is very small. That is the difference. So if I am part and parcel of God, therefore the qualities which I have got, that God has got the same quality. Now you study yourself. Then you can understand what is God. The same qualities are there, but it is unlimited. Ours are limited. It is not difficult to understand God. Why they are bewildered to understand God? God is also, and it is confirmed in Bhagavad-gita and all Vedic literature, God is just like us, a person, an individual person, but is very powerful. That is the difference. My power, there are different kinds of power. Your power is different from another man. Another man is different from another man, and go on. When you find the Supreme Man or Supreme Personality, he is God. Very nice description in the Brahma Samhita. Ishara Parama Kṛṣṇa. Every individual person is trying to control, to become controller. Just like somebody tries to become president of your state. What is the idea behind it? To become controller. They're spending millions of dollars to get that post. So I want to become a very big businessman like Rockefeller or Ford. What is the idea? To become controller. I want to rule over my family members. I want to be controller. If I have nobody to control, I get some dog to control. This is my, I'm going to say intuition. I want to control. So everyone is controller in different degrees. And the Brahma Samhita said that God is supreme controller. That's all. He is also controller. But there is nobody else who can control him. He controls everything. Ishara Parama Kṛṣṇa. Ishara means controller. The Parama means the supreme. Very nice, very simple description of God. If God, somebody says, I am God. I am God in this sense that God is like me. Just like if you say, I am American. Your president is also American. So exactly you are like President American. There is no harm. But if you say, I am as powerful as President Nixon, that is not applicable. Similarly, I am God means I am qualitatively one with God. It does not mean I am as powerful as God. That doesn't mean. He is the supreme controller. I have got the controlling capacity, or I do control in my limited circle, but He is the supreme controller. So in this way, if you understand, it is not very difficult to understand what is God, what is what is this material nature, what is time, and what is what. And if you understand these 5 things, then you are in full knowledge. God.
One should, therefore, follow the path of the Bhagavad-gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people seeking personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the supreme person, and His activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of the study of the Gita.
Yes. Simply if you understand that I have got also the, what is called intuition to control, and God is the supreme controller. Simply if you understand this, then immediately you become liberated. Simply if you understand. He is the supreme control. He is the supreme person. Simply this understanding, that is stated in the beginning of this transcendental knowledge, Janma karma dibbam jo janati tat. God also working. He is also creating. I am also creating. I am creating a Sputnik, a toy planet, and God is creating innumerable, unlimited planets. That is the difference. I can also create something, but that is not as good creative power as God. But I have got some creative power. I have got the tendency for enjoyment. Similarly, God has got the tendency for enjoyment. So, there is nothing different from you, God. Only the difference is that He is unlimited, I am limited. I am very small, He is very great. He is infinite, I am infinitesimal. Vibhu Anu. The Sanskrit word is Vibhu. Vibhu means great. God is great. Asamartha. Nobody can be equal to God. Nobody can be greater than God. That means everyone is subordinate to God. Simple these understandings will make you liberated. Janma karma me divyam ju janati tattva. Tattadeham. This liberation means after quitting this body, you are no more going to accept any material body. You are immediately transferred to the spiritual world, and you get your spiritual world. Tattadeham punarjananaiti mameti kaunta. These things are already explained. So try to understand what is God and what you are. What is this material nature? What is your relationship with material nature, with God, with others? What is this time factor? What is what? Then you are in full knowledge. Then you become liberated. All right.